your worth, it's not conditional. And it's not about what you achieve or what you do for others or how well you perform. It's more about knowing deep inside your bones that you matter simply just because you exist.
Welcome to the Lara Jane Layton Show. This podcast is for you, the person who keeps putting others first. Your self-talk has held you back. You no longer need to take a second seat. Let's explore ways to overcome self-doubt. You can silence that inner bully voice and achieve your full potential. Here's your host, Lara Jane.
Welcome to the show, friend. It's your host, Lara Jane, and I am here with my new best friend, Sharon, and she is amazing. We've been chatting and kind of preparing what we're going to talk to you about, and you're going to love this. But before we get started, let's get a quick word from our sponsor. When we come back, we're going to talk about what is at your core. So we'll be right back. Hey, since I rarely have openings in my coaching schedule, I have a new resource out there on my website. It is called the BFF Coaching Network. And I have offered a spot there for any coach that has been on the show to list their coaching. You can go out there, you can listen to their episodes, you can feel a little bit about them, and then choose a coach that will work for you. So LaraJaneLayton.com, the BFF Coaching Network. All right, we're back. And this thing, what is at your core? What does that mean? I think we all have a core belief. We have a belief that everything's going to work out, or that I always make a mess of things, or that life is beautiful, or I'm only successful if I make lots of money. There's all these windows or all these things that we were raised to believe, but what is really at the core? And we're kind of wanting to have you be your core value. What is most important is you and taking care of you. So Sharon, help me help our friend find their core value and to make it guide them.
Hi, everyone. So I think that first, finding yourself as your core value means recognizing who you are at your essence, like really, and understanding that it's already enough without all those roles that we play and without the expectations that are placed on you and or the validations of others, and without noticing all those things that we do as part of our routine thoughts. And it's about realizing that your worth, it's not conditional. And it's not about what you achieve or what you do for others or how well you perform. It's more about knowing deep inside your bones that you matter simply just because you exist. And how to get there is sometimes very confusing. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. I had years and years of my core value was the more money you made, the better you were. And that was what everything was stemmed around. When it came to a life situation, money always won. If it was going to bring more money back into my bank account so I could do all the wonderful things with it, that's what was important. And that's how I made my choices. But of course, I think you and I both had this medical thing that turned our lives around. Is when that happens and you realize that there is value in you.
Right.
And I need to put me at the core so that the money can keep coming in, so that the love and family and friends can keep coming in. But without me,
It kind of strips away the noise, doesn't it?
it can. But how do you strip it out without that life-changing event? I would love to prevent so many people to, let's change now. What can I do now before I'm found in the hospital bed? It's like,
Right.
what is now? What can I do now? And when we were talking, I'm like, your core could be pea size right now. It could be basketball size. if you can just find one little tiny thing of you that you love and that can be your core, let that be it. And then let it build. So how do we find that one thing that I just love about me, no matter how much money I make?
And I think you pretty much said it, because the first step is basically finding that awareness. We spend so much of our lives playing those roles, and the mom and the partner and the professional and the friend. And sometimes we just forget who we are underneath all of it, and where we all just started out, and maybe even where our fun part is, where our that smile that we used to have lives.
You
And
mean there's fun when you're old?
no, not really. Don't let anyone know. It's just between us.
I love it when it's fun. It gives it so much more purpose. It's
Right.
not just a duty, it's enjoyable. And
It's not heavy anymore.
yeah,
Right.
I told the last few places that I interviewed was, um, if it's not fun, I don't need to be here.
Right.
I will not come if it's not fun.
Right.
And everybody has their own value of fun, but I gotta enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. And fun allows you also to strip those things and kind of remove those external labels, and ask yourself, well, for example, if I wasn't a CEO or a mother, a business owner, a coach, who am I? Or if no one was truly watching me right now, what would I truly want? And maybe even, when do I most feel at home or at peace with myself? Those are kind of little questions that kind of bring that up and surface that core that you were saying, because many of us, I feel, yeah, of course, if you put it down on a question, what is your core value? Then we all could sit down and think of our core values. But talking about the day to day routine, we don't, not all of us always feel it so strongly throughout the day because of all that noise. That's why I keep saying, like, stripping those things away, because a lot of times the things around us and all those hats we wear don't really allow us to sit, because we can't sit in meditation all day. Who has time for that all day? To kind of, okay,
There are people that do, but that's okay. That's their path. We all have
I
that.
do as well. I do as well. I could tell you I do that in the morning and I do that at night. And today I do find those times because I do need that in order to focus my energy. But I'm saying sometimes throughout all the roles, it's so hard throughout the day to kind of refocus ourselves and recenter ourselves in order to check our core value regarding every little thing we're going through. Um, and that's why maybe sometimes some of us, I can raise my hand now, whoever's not watching and can't see, needed something to be diagnosed in order to stop and do that. And God willing, we can prevent that from others.
We can, but if it's an experience that you need or want, not that we want to be sick,
No,
but
yeah,
it's okay to go through it. It's even okay to go through it and not have a life awakening moment. But
right.
but what do you want? What is it? And we're talking about these core values and I'm like thinking, a lot of the things growing up is like, well, I need them to like me. I need to be liked. I need to be, if I finished up a project meeting and people walked out the door, I needed them to think it was good. And the sad thing about that is for many, many, many years, I relied on others' validation of who I was. And
Yeah.
so my core value at the time was to be liked, but I forgot that I needed to like me. And what is that core value that is driving you? And if you're not doing that for you, you need to. I need to be my own best friend. I need to like me. Because if someone else doesn't, I'm not changing for everybody. Everybody has something different. Everybody wants their own unique life.
Right.
And if I don't fit into it, I need to be okay with that.
Right. And and I feel like sometimes our core self isn't something you need to find as if it's lost. It's something you kind of need to just remember and remind yourself and paying attention to, like you said, what's fun, what lights you up, what makes you feel you. And there was a coaching question that, well, many probably have heard this before, but if you had a year left to live, what would be that most important thing that you would go out and do? And if you had 15 minutes left, what would be that most important message that you would give? And sitting down and thinking of those two questions really kind of clarified that purpose or that important thing, that message um, that I feel is important to share. And first of all, with myself, because as I said, like you need to remember those priorities. You need to remember those things that are inside of you, your cores, right?
They're there. Your mission, your purpose, your life, it's there. And we spend so much time trying to find our purpose or to find what makes us tick that we forget we're already ticking. And
Exactly.
you just need to internalize and listen to that tick. And what is it saying? It's not outside of us, it's inside, it's at your core.
Right. And what's energizing you and not what's draining you. Like noticing just the differences in those things and acting more towards those things that give us energy, that give us self-love, that give us self-worth, and understanding that self-worth is not just our productivity, you know? It's not how much we get done throughout the day. That's not just the only thing that gives us our self-worth. And a lot of times society teaches us that our value is tied to what we do and how much we accomplish and how well we take care of others and how productive we are. But and if we stopped and we would ask ourselves, if I stop proving my worth, would I still feel valuable? And asking yourself if you're worthy of love, if you feel that you're worthy of love and care, even if you're not accomplishing anything today.
You are accomplishing no
Yeah,
matter what you do. You
right.
may not be able to show somebody, these are the 5 pieces of paper that I filed.
Right.
That tangible. There's so much inside of us that it has way more purpose than those things that are tangible.
Right. And understanding that your worth is never up for debate. It's there. You are worth. Just the fact that you exist is so much of a purpose. And just shining your light and finding that light, remembering that light, not finding. We just corrected that, Laura, right?
Yes, we remembered it.
We're remembering our light and allowing it to shine. And I feel that a lot of it within me, I can say, came from challenging that inner critic and challenging that little voice, that pesky voice that comes up and tells you all the should've, could've, would've in every little place that you are and doesn't always let you be and shine. And challenging that inner critic was a big one for you, for me. I mean, and I think because it keeps conditioning you, it keeps putting you back in this box that is not always supposed to still be there. That box could have existed for many, many, many years ago. And meanwhile, you've grown and maybe you don't even need a box, or maybe your box looks different, and it's just beliefs that we carry from years and years ago.
I really love the i- i- that idea of self-worth, self-value. And so many of us put it on external validation. If someone says I look good today, then I dress myself properly. If someone says your hair looks nice, then I did it. And I'm doing those things that make everybody else give me validation. But can you get it without trying to please others? And I think that as we narrow into your personal core value, what is it that you would do no matter what anybody else would say? It wouldn't matter if everyone around you is like, that is so dumb. That is so dumb. In our society, we all have tons of different beliefs. And I live in a predominantly religious community that likes to go to church and be fed. And I had a friend that doesn't want to get married and doesn't want to have kids. And everybody's like, why wouldn't you want to have kids? That is so crazy. And she says, not for me. She knew at her core value what she wanted. And everybody around her could say, that's dumb. And it didn't budge her belief. And it doesn't matter whether it's kids, whether it's, I don't care what it is. If there's something that you have that's strong, then
Right.
that's where you find your core. You're unrockable. And I
Her
want
light
to,
was strong. It
yeah,
was shining strong, so no one can move it.
yep. And we can make that around as many principles if you want. But if you only can find one, get a start on it. Find that one thing that you are unwavering on.
And
And, the only way to do that in my book, only way I've been able to figure out how to do it is self-reflection, daily thinking about what is it? What is it that really made a difference? When did I shine? When did I feel like I was shining, even though other people weren't validating the shine?
yeah,
That's what we need. And I'm not saying you to be unliked or that's not the purpose. It's to make you know your core value. Who
to
are
make
you?
right. To make you understand that you're aligned with yourself, basically, right?
Hmm.
If I'm understanding right, that to really, like, when you're reflecting, you're kind of seeing, because the answers that you're gonna answer when you're doing that self-reflection, you can kinda see if you're aligning with your truth, with what's important to you.
And your truth can change.
100%.
It's okay to have a belief and to grow beyond it and to have new beliefs. So I'm not saying you have to have just one thing that you're always the same, but find one thing you can hold on to now and find another and massage them as you need.
Right. Do you feel that that worth is also, well, to me, for me, it was tied to my self-talk. And do you feel that it's like that with you as well?
I reword myself all the time, and I'll do it right when I'm talking out loud. I was like we did on this show, like, no, and no shouldas. No, no. It's like, I'm changing. I am not going to put that box. There's no shoulda. Who said it was a shoulda? Who made that up? Because you start questioning. Anytime you say, oh, I could have done this. Why didn't you? Question yourself because it wasn't important. Why do you care if you could have done it or you should have done it or you didn't? It's like,
You
dig down
probably
deeper.
didn't because it wasn't right at that moment,
Mhm.
or you were in a different place and it's not relevant. It wasn't
Right.
relevant at that moment. Right.
Like I said, we grow every day. We're a new person. Look at all these new experiences we're having right now. Am I going to be the same tomorrow? No, I now just have a new best friend that's teaching me all these amazing things. And I'm now different because of you. And those are the things that we get so stuck in showing up the same every day. The clouds don't show up the same every day. The
Oh, that's so
moon
beautiful.
doesn't show up
Right.
the same every day. It's okay to evolve. It's okay to change and let it still be your core value. And my cloud's core value is just to be beautiful, and they do it every day, and every day it's different.
And when you're talking about that, about the clouds and about showing up the same every day, what came up for me was the fear of failure that many of us have, and shifting the perspective on failure helps with that because understanding that there's no such thing.
As I was gonna say, who said
Yeah,
it was a failure? Who made that rule
exactly.
up? We
And
don't tell our toddler little boy that just fell on his butt because he can't stand up very well that he just failed.
yeah, you're never
No,
gonna walk. You're never gonna walk. You keep falling, you're never gonna walk. You can't do this,
we
right?
don't do that, and our whole lives are like that. So you stumbled, so you learned something new. It wasn't a failure.
Exactly. And just failure is just like a made up concept. It's we grow up believing that it's something to avoid, or we really need to do everything in order to not fail, but it's just if we just switch that um over to trial, failure is just another trial. When we go to do something, it's an experiment. We're going to teach ourselves something new. We're going to teach ourselves, when we're playing a video game the first time and we fall, then we're not gonna, "Ugh, I'm never gonna do
Never
it."
play. Oh,
Right.
that's
I'm
why
never
I
gonna
don't play video games. I failed once,
I don't either. No, I'm kidding. I'm
but
really
I
bad at it. I'm a
no,
failure
no,
at video games, but
perfect analogy. One that, yeah, we do. There are things in our lives that we don't give up on.
right. And
It's
and
like,
every so-called failure is just an experiment. It's a way for us to learn something new. It's a way for us to teach ourselves something new, to experiment with something new. And if you could only learn and not think of the word fail, we would be experimenting so much more and enjoying it also. And every major pivot that happened before I even go, or sometimes when I feel those jitters inside, I just tell myself, well, we're just going to play. Let's just go out and play.
let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Exactly. And whatever we did not do great, that's another thing on our list that we learned. And it's another thing that we refined. And it's another thing that we know more of and better today. So there's actually no such thing. All those things that we say, find out, because even when we're managing projects, there's like, okay, what it's today it's more like what didn't work, and then we learn what does work. But it used to be more like, or in school, for me, it was more like, okay, you were not good at this, and what you're good at, and it has nothing to do. It's just like we experimented with this, and now I know to do this better, or to take another few steps before I do this other thing, or Um, it's our process of learning, basically, because every little thing that we do, exactly like you mentioned, the toddler that falls maybe 17 times a minute when they start to walk, no one's standing beside them and telling them, "Again? Again? I can't believe
Can't believe you just fell over again.
right, this is never gonna work. We're not gonna do this." On the contrary, we're sitting there and "Come on, you can do this. Yay, I can't believe it. You lifted your foot off the ground. That is amazing." And then you fall, and then great. Now you lifted your foot and actually was able to put it down. That is such an amazing step. And maybe even reminding ourselves to talk to ourselves in that way could be so much more empowering, just like how we would talk to a friend. Because if a friend would come and say something to us that they tried new, we wouldn't say, "Oh my God, you're such a loser," right? We would say, "Wow, that was amazing. I can't believe you even tried that. I don't even have we would just empower them and encourage them and see all that greatness that sometimes within ourselves we're not able to see that, or we're not willing to see that.
I love the quote that, um, oh God, now it just dropped out of my brain. Never mind. I don't love that one. I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay. You didn't want it right now?
Oh, I remember now. Allow yourself to be a beginner.
Oh,
Every gold medalist,
beautiful.
every doctor, every person you admire for something they're doing was a beginner once. And they went through it and they failed and they tried again. And somebody maybe had a quicker path to being the best snowboarder in the whole world. Do you need to be the best, or can you just be good at it and enjoy it? I just want to have fun. I just want to enjoy the ride. And so allow yourself to be the beginner.
Right, right. And another thing that came up when we were talking about that snowboarder is that sometimes when we want to be like that snowboarder and we may be an amazing friend or an amazing CEO or an amazing we go to that and like, why can't I snowboard like that? And we don't see all of our other greatnesses that we are exactly like that snowboarder, and so
It's
many
just
other
not on
things.
the snow. Yeah.
Right. Because it's not, we approach something and we're like, okay, we got to be amazing at that as well. But we don't remember that as well. Do you remember all those other things that you're great at when before you're even trying the snowboarding? You're just
Right.
amazing. And now you can just be exactly like you said, allow yourself to be a beginner at snowboarding.
At whatever it is you're choosing today to be a beginner at, and
Correct.
realize that because somebody else does it different doesn't mean that the way you're doing it doesn't work for you. Allow yourself your own style. It's like the freestyle swimming competition versus the butterfly. There's two different total skill sets. And freestyles get there however you can. Butterflies doing it exactly perfectly every stroke, every moment, the fastest possible. And it's like, which do you want? Choose your race. I want a freestyle race. I want to do it my way all the time.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Being that freestyle race all the time. I like that. I'm gonna write that down.
Well, when you give yourself permission to do it your way. Yeah, how many times I didn't swim or I didn't go in the water because I felt like I didn't look right, or going bowling. Like, I can look really good at this. I can do my follow through. I can do all this stuff. But that kid that just pushes it down gets a strike and I get a gutter ball. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Is it effective? Is it giving you what you wanted at it? I go bowling to have fun, not to get a high score. I have a good time. I go do this to have fun, not to be elegant or beautiful or whatever. I do it to have fun. And you do it for your reason. What is it? What is your reason?
Right. Right. And what is your reason? And maybe just stripping away those voices around you and stripping away the self-judgment and how I'm going to look when I'm gonna bowl, or what am I wearing the right thing, or and taking all those things away and just basically going with your truth and really sensing it and trying, just kind of following through with the reason that you started. If it was to bowl, maybe it was just to have fun, right?
To do something with my family, to be there, to be, there's a reason that it's fun. Is it to be bowl a 300 game? Not for me. Maybe for somebody else. And that's what makes it fun for them. We all have our different thing that lights us up. And just being with people is fun for me.
That's something that I learned through raising my kids, especially with my firstborn. She told me once, "Mom, you never, when you're a new mom, you're so busy, and then when they're finally playing, for example, or they're finally, or someone else is taking care, I'll sit here and I'll look and I'll see you and you go do your thing and I'm watching and you smile and you say." One time she said to me, "You never do anything fun, don't you? Like you never come with that." And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "You never come into the pool. You never really play when we're playing." And that got me thinking on how many times not just because I was tired, but throughout my life, it kind of made me reflect back on how many times I missed out on going to the pool because if it was today, it was because I had to take a shower after my hair and I don't have the energy to da da da. But if it was, I wasn't sure if I would look right, or I wasn't sure if it was okay by all the other voices around me, and if I was good enough player, or if I was gonna fall, or if I was gonna stumble, and those things were the things that took me away from my core value. Those were the things that me not trying and not participating in life. And especially in the fun things, in those things that make you smile, in those things that are not expected of you, but the things that are just there, like playing when they're playing or jumping in the pool and just being part of that. I would be on the sidelines looking and watching because that for me that was like, okay, great, that was my rest time. But through the years, I was just not participating and not participating in all that fun, which I thought wasn't. But due to, thank God, my daughter, I started having fun again. And that helped me find more of my core values and more of the things that made me smile and more of the things that were meaningful to me. And just trying and not fearing the failure or not looking for what I expect to be at the end of this. Like having no expectations for a moment, just being and doing put me closer and closer to myself. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It's when we quit using that other person's measuring stick to measure us
Right.
and we are able to create our own. I am successful because I am measuring against what I choose is successful. I made it through another day with a smile on my face. That's success for me.
Yeah.
And it's choose your successes, measure your life by them. It's not how much money you made. Even if you are making the most money ever in the whole world and you don't need any more, is it making you happy? What is it? What is it feeding? And if nothing else, what is it feeding inside of you? And that's how we drill down. God, it's making me feel like I'm as good as everybody else because I have self-doubt. Sometimes what we're gathering and trying to prove is our own personal
Worth?
I'm as good as somebody else
Right.
or my own, but oh, there is no reason to measure your worth because
Right.
we're all worthy. It doesn't matter. We don't have to measure it. It doesn't matter what you did or who you are. You're worthy. Yeah, I do stupid things. Yeah, I've made some enemies because they caught me at a moment that I was my worst. Does that matter? No, I have plenty in my life. Look
Not just that, it's inevitable.
Look at your plenty, not your lack. Look
Right.
at all the things you have, not all the things you don't have. And I think that's where we start finding joy is that daily gratitude practice, that core value, that core thing. And if you're not at the core, figure it out because it is. You are, whether you know it or not, you are the purpose behind all of your decisions, all the things you want. And when you can kind of write them down and figure it out, if it is, I need to be liked, start liking yourself. If it is, I need to be good at something, start finding and seeing the things that you already are good at. Because what comes natural for me and you doesn't come natural for somebody else. And somebody out there might be, oh my gosh, I want to be just like Lara Jane because she does this and this and this. You know what? Do your thing. Shine your brightest at what you like, and that's what's going to make a difference,
Yeah.
not
What
if
makes you
you're like
smile.
somebody. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Finds what make you smile. Find what makes you alive. Find those moments where you shine. Right.
And
And
write them down and recreate them. So instead of identifying all the things that make you sad at night, what worked right? What went well? How can I recreate a beautiful day like today? Or which moments of today do I want to figure out how I did it and make happen again? And if there's none, that's okay. What is it that I can do tomorrow that I might smile at?
right. And every coin has two sides, right? There's that side that we like less and that side that we like more. And wherever we turn our head, that's what we're going to see more of. And it's basically knowing that we have a choice to turn our head left or right to see this side of the coin or this side, and choosing to look at the side, like you said, what did we do that we were really good at today, and reflecting on the things that we're already good at, or that already made us shine, or that already made us smile. Doesn't mean shine as wow. Sometimes people hear that and they're like, I didn't shine, but okay, what made you smile? What made you feel good? And how do you look more at that and for that? And how do you create more of that in your life? And in tiny, tiny motions and tiny baby steps, just choosing and knowing that you have that choice to choose every single day and every single challenge to see, okay, am I going to look at the fact that this challenge was dropped at me? Or am I going to look at this amazing opportunity to get out of it?
Mhm.
And sometimes this challenge doesn't look like an opportunity, but every single challenge is just an opportunity for us to learn something, to grow, to create something new and to gain a new tool for our life, and that it's going to help us move forward and open other doors and fix other challenges maybe that come our way. So choosing to look at the more positive, or I'm taking the risk of sounding like optimistic, but sometimes I tell my clients and they're telling me all these things that went wrong, and then but what did go right? and what was okay. And how can you reframe that? Because we can reframe everything. And instead of saying, I'm so horrible at this, it's like, wow, I actually tried that again. I actually tried that again, and I was brave to try it again because it was really hard for me. And I'm going to do it again tomorrow. And maybe I'll do it again tomorrow. And maybe I'll get better and better and better. And maybe saying those affirmations, sometimes it's hard to say affirmations like, I am amazing, I'm a star. But you could say things like, I'm getting better at this. Wow, I really did give my best today, didn't I? That was a really hard day, or that was a poop of a day, but I did give my best, or I really did try, or I succeeded. Succeeded, I mean, I got through it. I'm at the end of the day and I'm still alive. I'm still here.
It's like going to the gym and you have your planned routine. And all of a sudden, you are in aerobics class instead of all these uh, free weights that you were planning on doing. And you go, dang it. I failed at all the things on my task list. I didn't get a darn one of them done. But you did.
You did.
You got something done. It doesn't matter if you changed your mind. It doesn't matter if you went for plan A and you end up with plan Z. Whatever plan it is, enjoy it. And be like, I did this. I did an aerobics class today. I ate healthy today. I said something nice to myself. I defended myself. I said no to somebody. All these things that you can start being proud of. I set a boundary and I actually kept it. Boundaries are for you, not the other guy, not
Those are
to
big.
pass, you know? And if you can learn to respond when someone crosses that boundary, you did it. It's going to take time. How many times does John Doe need to throw something at you to get your attention and you get mad? It's like, okay, my response is not mad. My response is not mad. And it's like, maybe next time we say, I'm going to catch that next time. Make it where the thing that's getting thrown at you, what is your response going to be that you're not going to be mad?
Right.
I'm going to be ready for this. I know my boundary.
Right. And I'm so exactly like the example that you said with the woman at the church. She was so clear on what she wanted or did not want, that which means she had very clear boundaries around it, that no one can move her.
I'm like, you can think I'm crazy. I don't care. You're
Right.
crazy for having them. Look at what you got. No, I mean, she never
Yeah,
said it
yeah,
that
yeah,
way,
yeah,
but
right? Yeah.
we're not crazy. We all have a different path and we need to appreciate each person's journey.
Especially our
Um,
own. Especially our own. And once we more and more appreciate it, those boundaries are not things we need to set. They're just there naturally. They come up authentically. And it's just, I think it's a lot giving ourselves the permission to be what we want to be, or to do um what we want to do at that moment. And know, as you said, that it can change tomorrow, that it doesn't have to be the same thing tomorrow like it is today. But the moment that you know that what you're doing is right for you at this time, it allows the voices. Sometimes someone told me once, you don't have to prepare what you're going to answer to this person that was like constantly throwing mean, I don't want to say mean, but like throwing things that were not supposed to be thrown at others. And I was it got me so aggravated. And I said, I'll find something really smart to say. And then I was like, no, because if I'm completely true and aligned, I won't even hear it. And when they throw that thing, it'll be just like, huh, interesting. Interesting. And I think interesting is an amazing answer for so many things because, when you get judgment thrown at you, interesting. Like interesting could be interesting that you feel you have to say that, or interesting that you feel, you know, that you're even thinking of me right now enough to say that to me, or interesting. Hmm. And I think when the more you're aligned with your core and with yourself, with your authentic self, with that little inner child that really tells you what is that good feeling and what is that not good feeling right now. What others say is not important anymore. I'm saying when the negative.
When we share what we feel, right? If I'm feeling happy, I share happy. If I'm feeling angry, I kind of want everybody else to know that I'm angry. And that person that's spilling pain out to everybody feels pain. That person who's judging everybody feels judged. That
Yes.
person who is happy and likes you just the way you are is someone who likes themselves just the way they are. And as we give ourselves those permission to like ourselves, we automatically start liking other people because that's what we're focused on is kindness. You don't have to like them, but you don't have to be mean. So it's knowing that that person that is judgy, judgy, judgy. Oh, I can't believe you came to the office late. There's something about them where they are feeling not good at their own personal life. And so they want other people to feel the same way. And it's not conscious. It's not a
Oh,
conscious
it's not.
behavior.
It's not.
It's just a reaction to the pain or the misery that's on inside. And if we can look at them with, I see your pain. You don't have to say it out loud. I see your pain. Just know you're loved. You can say it in your heart. And that is how I deal with it. Road rage, I just put a bubble of safety around my car going down the road. I'm safe. I'm safe. What is it? Where can you set your boundary? Where can you, like that person who lashes out? Can I Can I empathize? Can I understand?
And give
They're just having
compassion.
a hard time, and they're just not able to control what comes out of their mouth, or they're
Hmm.
not choosing to. Um, but as we learn to focus on our happiness, that's what we get. And
Right.
I think that's the fun part is seeing all our rewards because we are happy
Right. Because
and
we
fun.
bring it to ourselves. We bring more of what we think about. And the more we think happy, the more we see happy, the more, because, in NLP, they teach you that at every given moment, there is like 20, I'm probably saying the number wrong, but like 20 million different bits of information that you can see, right? You can see the door, you can see the edge of the door, you could see the corner of the door, you could see the lines on the door, you can see the light, you could see the colors, you could see so many different things around you at every given moment. But our mind can take 126 bits at every second. So we can choose like those 126 bits are a reflection of what we're feeling. They're a reflection of what we're thinking. So, like you said, the more we think happy, it's like putting those glasses on. We put that color glasses on us, and we filter out from those millions and millions of bits, we can take those 126 bits that are happy. And the more and that's, I feel, that's the biggest work we can do with ourselves, is focusing on as much good as we can, as much positive, if it's regarding ourselves, if it's regarding situations, if it's regarding others. Just, Thumper says, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, right? We grew
And
up,
he's the only one that said that.
yes, the only one in the world. His mother said it, right? His mother said it. It wasn't him. He was just repeating his mother. But if we remember that throughout our day, regarding all our experiences, regarding ourselves, regarding everyone around us, even if it's the tiny things, no one has to hear us. But like, I'm looking outside, instead of saying, oh, it's raining right now, it's just like, wow, finally the sky is getting cleaned, and the water is going down to the earth, and helping the plants. Or it's choosing those 126 bits that are going to nurture our soul, that are going to nurture our day, that are going to nurture our core, and bring us continuously closer and closer to our real truth, to our essence. Because in essence, all of us just want to smile, and we're here to just be happy and be good, and experience this world. And no one said that we need to suffer in order for things to be meaningful. On the contrary, when we see those smiles and we're having an amazing time or an amazing moment with a friend or with our family, those are memories that last forever as well. So just focusing our energy constantly on, ooh, how can I make those 126 bits much nicer and much better? I feel like that shifts our perspective and shifts our life completely, um, gradually, slowly by slowly, every day, moment at a time. It can shift our whole world.
You said, can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. And I kind of thinking I want a challenge that says, if you can't say anything nice, find something nice, which is learning to look for the good. That's, I choose to look for the good. I want to see the good. That doesn't mean that bad is, I don't want it. It just means I choose something else. So if you can't say anything nice, find something nice to say. Whether it's, oh my gosh, the weather is so beautiful, or I love the rain and the sound of it. What is it that you can find that's nice to say?
Exactly. 100% I agree. I agree. And it's retraining ourselves, retraining our brain, retraining everything, we think. I don't know. There's this misconception that we grow up with. Many of us grow up from. I'm not including everyone, but many of us do grow up with for something. You need to suffer, or it needs to be really hard for it to be meaningful, and it could just be fun, and learning, like you said, like retraining yourself to choose to see the good, and choose to see what's beautiful out there. My kids, when they come and they're telling me all these things about this person, I'm like, okay, great. Stop 1 second. I agree. And I feel what you're saying. Can you say anything nice about them right now? Is there anything good that you can see right now, or about their day, or about, and just kind of remind yourself, like, yeah, this was a really hard experience, but can you say 5 things that were okay, maybe? Or that were neutral? Or maybe even that were a little bit good in today or in that experience or that came out of that experience? And just teaching yourself and with teaching yourself, um, superficially in the beginning, it just becomes natural with time. Like, the more you train yourself, the more it becomes more and more natural, and you learn to put those glasses on, and you see the good easier and easier throughout the day.
All right. I love what you said about your daughter and the complaints and, is there anything nice about the situation? And sometimes, like you said, it may not be that particular person, but who is it that you can say something nice about? And tell me about that person for a while. And let the dialogue be a little of both and both of each. Like, I had this hard time, I had this win. How can we do that with our employees? How can we do that with our significant others and our friends? Is allow them to have the grungy because that's what happens, right? But also allow them to have the reward. So, what can we find in our day that we can focus on as a positive, as what makes us feel good? And now, positive to me is it makes me feel good. Um, but I'm not the judge of your positive. So, Sharon, it's been really cool talking with you today, and we're really at the end of our time frame. So we need to close this out or we would keep talking forever. But how about sharing with our friend a little bit about you, what you do, um, why you want to share your message, and what's that one thing we can do this week to help us find that core?
I start with that one.
Okay.
Because I just feel that I wanted to go back to the fact that you mentioned the gratitude. And I feel like that's the biggest one that can shift our soul. The more we're grateful, the more we notice those things around us that can shift our perspective a lot. And maybe practicing that, especially when times are rough. That could be moments that help us rewire our brain to that positive and to really align with our core. So I am a mindset coach and I work with moms, especially busy moms that kind of lost themselves in the journey of motherhood. And throughout the years, I started working with women with cancer as well. And I believe that healing, not just from illness, whether it's physical, emotional, or spiritual, begins with the mind. And for me, my journey with cancer was proof of that for me, for myself. And I spent my life deep diving into different transformations. And I was being an entrepreneur and then a mother and now a mindset coach helping women reconnect and reclaim their strength and their resilience and their inner voice. So I help women, mothers, and survivors and seekers basically navigate the complexities of life and find their authentic selves with more clarity and confidence and purpose. So, whether it is you're healing from an illness or just trying to reclaim yourself after motherhood or simply searching for a way to quiet the noise around you and find your true self, that's what I'm here to help and guide you with. And it's important that you understand that you're not your circumstances and you're not your past. And you're so much stronger than you think. And the moment you shift your mind, you can shift your life. So the core truth, back to the core truth, it's you're not the roles that you play and you're not the expectations of others and you're not your achievements or your productivity or your failures. You're already enough. And the fact that you exist shows that. And the moment you stop seeking that validation outside of yourself and you start listening more inward, you realize that you're never lost. And you were just waiting to remember that spark and who you are. And thank you, Laura, for having me here. And I'm here for whoever needs me.
That was absolutely beautiful. I love it. And, you know, getting to that core is so important because it's our foundation. It's what we have everything else built on. So let's make it strong. Thank you, Sharon, for joining me today. It has been my pleasure. Friend, Sharon and I are not medical or mental licensed professionals. We're here for entertainment. People would like to see you go smoothly along your path to your choice of success. Thank you for joining and stay tuned for the next episode.
Are you tired of waking up exhausted? You are not alone. If you're looking to take your life back, let's start with the simple step of adjusting your self-talk. Stay tuned for the next episode with your host, Lara Jane. Remember to follow the show so you don't miss the next simple step that you can use to feel more confident. And please leave an honest review.